Prepare to have your health questions answered here on Safe, Effective Natural Solutions with Dr. Todd Binkley, owner of Binkley Healing Center in downtown Ventura. Now, here's Dr. Todd.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Todd Binkley, board-certified doctor of non-force chiropractic and practitioner of functional medicine. I am excited to welcome you to the 100th episode of Safe, Effective Natural Solutions to Almost Any Health Challenge. Wow, it's been just over 2 years now since I started this show with a few breaks. This is the 100th episode. Each week, I highlight for you some of the latest medical research into documented ways you can heal yourself and naturally reverse disease. Reduce the risk of getting disease in the first place, and especially reduce your risk of ending up dependent on drugs for the rest of your life. So oftentimes I'll present case studies of actual patients that I've treated who've gotten truly amazing results. And apropos of nothing, I recently rewatched the 100th episode of Seinfeld, which was watched by millions who loved it, who still continue to rewatch it on Netflix just like me, because Jerry Seinfeld and his co-writer Larry David and his 3 co-stars on the show who played George, Diane, and Kramer are comedic geniuses. Well, I'm not a comedic genius loved by millions, but I might be one of the most competent, effective, skilled, and experienced clinicians you or someone you love might ever meet to help you identify what's causing some condition that no one else has ever been able to figure out. I've been doing this for over 35 years, and I've had some truly amazing results. I've been blessed to have the opportunity to help people that were in a really bad way, whose lives I've been able to help change profoundly, in ways that some of them actually called, their words, a miracle. So I'd love an opportunity to help do that, to change the life of someone you love or someone that needs a little help, a little support, to figure out what's actually causing the problem that they're having that no one else has been able to figure out. Give me a call, send me an email. You can even text me at 805-218-3939, and I'll set up a consultation. I'll send them a questionnaire to fill out in advance and review their answers to that question to identify what tests might be appropriate, to identify what's causing the problem that you have, and follow up when those test results come back to give you my recommendations. I usually do a 55-point blood panel through LabCorp, and LabCorp is nationwide. If you have friends and family that live in Massachusetts or Oregon or Colorado or Kansas or Florida, anywhere in the country, I can send them to their local LabCorp to get the blood drawn. And other tests that I order are done for toxins and hormones and things like that, are with kits done through the mail that you FedEx the samples in yourself that you collect at home, a saliva test or a stool test or a urine test, etc. And then when all the tests come back, we can consult on the telephone, on a FaceTime call, on Zoom. I'll make all my recommendations. I can even show you a place called FullScript where you can get all the top shelf supplements, the best research-based supplements online with free shipping. So I have patients in a couple of dozen states all over the country that I've done this with for many years now, and this is the level of care my mother gets, and she's 83 years old, lives in Kansas, and for her age is in fantastic health. Do you need a last-minute gift? For as little as $100, you could gift someone with a half-hour consultation that would motivate them, because it's already paid for, to come in and at least start the process of finding out what do they need to do different? What do they need to find out about what could change their lives going into the new year and forward to make them feel amazing again? Here's a great story that came up in the news press recently, medical press, headlined, "Music can help ease pain from surgery or illness, and scientists are listening." I love this. It's a perfect time of year. People are listening to music already. The healing power of song may sound intuitive given music's deep roots in human culture, but the science of whether and how music dulls acute and chronic pain, technically called music-induced analgesia, is just catching up. So no one suggests a catchy song can fully eliminate serious pain. But several recent studies, including in the journals Pain and Scientific Reports, have suggested that listening to music can reduce the perception of pain and enhance a person's ability to tolerate it. So what seems to matter most is that patients or their families choose the music selections themselves and listen intently, not just as background noise. So a lot of us are listening to Christmas music this time of year. I have CDs, hundreds of CDs I don't listen to anymore. I listen to Pandora online. Most people listen to Spotify. These are places you can get to stream music online. There's a great jazz holidays station that I play in my office a lot that so many people say, what is that? What are you playing? That's amazing. That's fantastic. Jazz holidays on Pandora is wonderful. And another one is folk holidays, for something a little more mellow. Folk, F-O-L-K, folk holidays station that you punch in on Pandora is just a bunch of music that someone else has chosen, or the algorithm on the computer has chosen. That's really, really nice to listen to this time of year. So anyway, for the point of trying to use music, what a simple thing, right? I love to give people simple solutions. If you want something that's as simple as possible and basically free, listening to music. So it's not just randomly listening to music. Everyone often has random music playing in the background. No, this study specifically says that what matters most is several things. One, you choose the music. It works best if you or whoever you're going to suggest try this, they pick their own music. It's something they really like, and then listen intently. So what does that mean? What does listen? That means, I used to do this. Have you ever done this? Like when you go to a concert, you're not looking at your phone. There's no TV on if you're with someone or not. The only thing you're doing is listening to music. I used to have some really amazing music I loved to just put on a record and listen to in the dark. The point is, you're not occupying your eyes with distractions to think about, or anything else that needs this drawing your attention away from the music. You're just sitting or standing and dancing maybe, but just listening to music that you really love. This is what this study is showing that can have profound effects. So pain is a really complex experience, says Dr. Adam Hanley, PhD, a psychologist at Florida State University. It's created by a physical sensation, by our thoughts about that sensation, and the emotional reaction to it. So two people with the same condition or injury may feel vastly different effects of acute or chronic, recent onset, or pain that's been around for a long time. Or the same person might experience pain differently from one day to the next. It's different from day to day. But acute pain, recent onset pain, is felt when pain receptors in a specific part of the body, like from a hand touching a hot stove, send signals to the brain. These receptors send signals to the brain, which causes the short-term response of a sudden onset pain. Chronic pain, however, usually or alternatively involves long-term structural or other changes in the brain, which heighten overall sensitivity to pain signals. I love this. I'm going to say that again. Chronic pain usually involves long-term structural and other changes to the brain, which heighten overall sensitivity to pain signals. Well, this is something as a non-force chiropractor I see all the time. I strongly believe that most chronic pain, most of the pain that people have that didn't result from an injury they had last week, even if the pain started last week, you've had some problem with your neck or your low back or in your knee or your ankle or your foot or your shoulder for years. It comes and goes, and you think if it goes, then when it comes back again, that it's just starting then. No, if that part of your body has ever had pain before, then it is a chronic pain. And this almost always involves some kind of long-term structural change in the mechanisms your body uses to prevent you from injuring that tissue again. So if you whack your thumb with a hammer, or even if your stomach just tightens up when you get scared or horrified at seeing a car accident or witnessing some other traumatic event for someone else even, or a pet, all these things are ways that your body is designed to protect you from hurting yourself in the future from a similar situation. So if you get in a car accident, for example, and a certain song is playing on the radio, and you're looking out your windshield at a certain building, or it's hot or cold, all the sensations that are impacting your body, your sense organ, your sight, sound, taste, touch and smell organs your brain is perceiving all of these things at the same time. These are things that get encoded with a traumatic event. This has everything to do with what underlies PTSD. When soldiers come home from the battlefield and hear a sound that sounds like a helicopter or an explosion or something they heard on the battlefield, that can trigger a whole overwhelming response, physiological response in their body that's kicking into gear to try to protect them, to save their life, to prevent something bad from happening again. So the PTSD in a soldier or a rape victim, I've treated many of both and help their brains identify that those sensations they're experiencing are things that were important reactions at one time to protect them in the past, but they're no longer necessary. I'm getting a little bit off track here. That's a whole other talk. There are ways to provide new information to the brain to replace that feedback that's saying, oh my God, this thing is really dangerous. I need to tighten up this muscle and create a spasm that's painful, or create sensations in the gut that aren't necessary. Your body's just trying to protect itself, and it will do that no matter what, until you give it new information that enables it, especially your brain, to realize that reaction is no longer necessary. So this is one of the things that they're identifying that music can help with in really profound ways. Pain is interpreted and translated by the brain, says Dr. Gilbert Chandler, MD, a specialist in chronic spinal pain at the Tallahassee Orthopedic Clinic in Florida. And these signals to the brain ratchet up the signal or down, depending on the situation. And researchers know that music can draw attention away from pain, lessening these sensations that are just there on kind of automatic mode in the background because of something that happened in the past that's no longer necessary. And focused listening to music you like, and only listening to music, not doing anything else. No phone, no TV, no distractions, just sitting and listening to music that you love can help dull that pain. Much more than, they've tested this, much more than listening to podcasts or any other distractions. Music draws your focus away from the pain. But it's doing more than that, says Caroline Palmer, Dr. Caroline Palmer, psychologist at McGill University in Montreal, who studies music and pain. She says, quote, "We know that almost all of the brain becomes active when we engage in music." This is one of the reasons that so many studies have shown that playing music for infants in the womb and young children is so powerful, because it engages the entire brain. It changes the perception and experience of everything that's impacting the brain. So it's because it involves so many parts of the brain firing at the same time, it helps build connections that are useful in a young person, and it helps rebuild connections in a person that are better than the ones that they're firing off over and over again now that are not helpful. And that changes your perception and experience of pain, and the isolation of pain, and the anxiety of pain. It rewires your brain. To a certain extent, it can actually rewire. When I say rewire, there's lots of studies that show that what you really want to think of when you're trying to change an impact, think of the way a skill is formed in your brain. There are so many nerves in our brain that we never even use. Most of us lose a huge percentage of our brain cells as we get older, and that underlies chronic neurological diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, losing that brain tissue. But we're not using we're using a small percentage of the total available brain cells most of the time anyway, maybe 20, 30%, some studies suggest. So what really matters is in many cases, what matters is the connections between the cells you have. You may have lost 10, 20, 30% of your brain cells, but you can always do something to reestablish more connections between existing brain cells. And any time a professional athlete or an accomplished musician or any of these superstars that can do these superhuman feats, physiologically, what underlies a lot of that, those skills that they develop through practice, through doing 10,000 hours of something, playing the piano over and over again, what they're doing is they're developing more connections between the cells of their brain. So then when they want to deliberately repeat an activity that they've been studying over and over and over again, it's easier for them to do that again and do it better than you or I can do it, because they've done it so many times, and that's literally changed the physiology of their brain by increasing the number of connections between the cells in their brain. So all the cells in your brain are connected to other cells, but the number of other cells that each individual cell is connected to varies tremendously. Some of your brain cells are only connected to a few other brain cells, and some of them are connected to hundreds of other brain cells. And activities that force you to think on your feet, to develop a skill, to do something that requires repeated activity over and over again, the result of that activity, the beneficial results of that activity, is in large part because of these dramatically increased connections between brain cells. Well, something as simple as listening to music that you like, and only listening to music with no distractions, not watching TV, not doing anything else at the same time, just listening to music, does the same thing. These studies are showing pretty strongly, it's not proving, but strongly indicating, because of the similarity with other studies, that what you're actually doing, there's many studies that show that music involves all parts of the brain, so it's very likely that this is part of this benefit. When you listen to really amazing music that you love and do nothing else, just listen to music, it can change your brain in ways that, among other things, can reduce your perception and experience of pain. So the idea of using recorded music to lessen pain associated with dental surgery, for example, began in the 19th century, before local anesthetics were available. Well, today researchers are studying what conditions can make music most effective. Researchers at Erasmus University in Rotterdam in the Netherlands conducted a study on 548 participants to see how listening to 5 different genres of music, classical, rock, pop, urban, and electronic, and you guessed it, everyone was expecting classical music to make the biggest difference, and the result came in, all music helped. It didn't matter what kind of music. All music helped. The more people listened to a favorite genre of music, the more they could endure pain. And what matters most is just simply that you listen to what music you like. They theorized that it may partly be because familiar songs activate more memories and emotions, and the simple act of choosing the music itself can have a benefit. So says Dr. Claire Howland, PhD, Director of Music and Health Psychology Lab at Trinity College Dublin, who co-authored a study that suggested allowing patients to select songs improved their pain tolerance, because it's one thing that people can have control over if they have a chronic condition, and it gives them agency. It gives them something that they can do at will, anytime, that can actually make a significant difference. I'm Dr. Todd Binkley. You're listening to Safe, Effective, Natural Solutions to Almost Any Challenge. I've created and am funding this show to provide you with the latest research into ways that you can use natural methods to reduce your risk of many diseases and heal yourself. This often requires ordering more tests than most doctors order and doing a more progressive analysis of those tests. So in addition to screening for full-blown disease, I'm looking for places where normal health has been lost. Where do your kidneys and liver and digestive system and immune system need a little extra support? How is the health of your gut microbiome? How would you know? Well, if you have gas, bloating, constipation, or diarrhea, it's probably not great. But if you have an autoimmune condition where your body is overproducing antibodies that are attacking healthy tissue, and your thyroid, for example, or your nerve tissue like multiple sclerosis, or in your joints, rheumatoid arthritis, there's a good chance that that has its origins in a lack of healthy bacterial balance in your gut. Maybe your hormones are a little bit out of balance and you need some support there. The way those are often tested and treated by standard medical practices are not always getting people the results they need. Maybe you've been exposed to mold, chemical, or heavy metal toxins that are putting a constant strain on your nervous system and your immune system, causing rashes, brain fog, fatigue, and a whole host of other symptoms that no one else can figure out. What is causing that? When we identify these things that other doctors miss, solutions involving mainly better food, exercise, and evidence-based supplements can make all the difference. You can feel like a whole new person again. So who do you know who isn't feeling great, who has been to other doctors and is told there's nothing that can be done. Maybe they've been told there's nothing wrong with them. But if they don't feel right, then there probably is something wrong. They just haven't figured out the cause yet. So I'm here to help. A consultation to get someone started on a healthier path is a great Christmas gift that they can take with them far into the new year for as little as $100. We can do a consultation and get them started. Here's some exciting news. It's not really new. This has been around for a while. Peanut allergies are debilitating for children. It's really frustrating because peanuts are everywhere. Nuts are really, really healthy snack foods. If you like to eat other nuts, a lot of times they're processed in facilities that also process peanuts, and a tiny amount for some, especially children, can cause an anaphylactic shock where you need to get an EpiPen or their airways are going to close off and they'll suffocate and die. So it can be a really serious condition. But for several years now, they've been doing studies where they show that if you introduce peanuts to an infant and a young child's diet at that age, their body will make antibody. Their body will adjust to that, and they won't become familiar with it, so they won't develop an allergy to it. So this has been going on for several years now. Studies show the protective effect of recommending peanut product consumption in infancy. Allergy rates dropped. This is published in Pediatrics, just came out just this year, 2025. Fewer toddlers developed peanut allergies after guidelines recommended introducing peanuts in infancy. A large primary care registry study showed physician-diagnosed peanut allergies in children ages 1 to 3 declined by 27% after the key trial and resulted in new guidance and peanut product introduction in 2015, reported researchers led by David Hill, Dr. David Hill, MD, PhD of the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia in Pediatrics. Exposing babies to peanuts by 11 months was shown in a 2015 LEAP trial to reduce the development of peanut allergies, which resulted in another update in the guidelines, Prevention of Peanut Allergy Guidelines of 2017 from the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, which recommended the introduction of peanut products by 11 months for low-risk infants and by 6 months for those at high risk. And although adherence to these guidelines has been slow, the study showed that the cumulative incidence of peanut allergy dropped 45% compared to before they started these new guidelines. How exciting is that? What a debilitating anaphylactic shock potentially inducing allergy like that can be totally reversed. You can help your young growing child to prevent that ever happening by preparing the immune system in early life to adjust to that so that peanuts are no longer an irritant. That could be life change for someone, especially if they're at high risk. If you have somebody that's already have someone in their family that's at risk for that. This is well documented. If you've heard about it, but you're not sure if it's safe to do, send me an email. I'll send you the specific guidelines. You can look them up online, but I'm happy to send them to you myself so that you can feel safe about doing it. But this is really exciting news because, no one wants to spend a lifetime worrying about going into respiratory failure just because they got a little peanut in some snack that they weren't expecting. I'd love to have you join me for the next presentation live at Binkley Healing Center, my office in downtown Ventura, 961 East Main Street, every first Wednesday evening. This will be 6 p.m. on January 7th on how to reduce and reverse diabetes, how you can lower your blood sugar, reduce your risk of heart attack, stroke, get more energy, lose weight, and feel amazing without drugs. I'll do a 30-minute keynote presentation. We'll have some light refreshments, and then there'll be plenty of time for questions and answers, which I would love to be able to provide for you face-to-face in my office. Here's the final tip before you go out to each of those holiday gatherings that you're going to. Stuff yourself with some healthy fruits and vegetables before you go. Take some nuts with you, dense, nutrient-rich snacks. Get your belly full before you're tempted by all that starch and sugar that you know you shouldn't be eating. And then, of course, most importantly of all, have a blessed holiday with your family. Have a very Merry Christmas.
You've been listening to Safe, Effective Natural Solutions with Dr. Todd Binkley. If you have a health question you want discussed on the show, email your health questions to Dr. Binkley at binkleyhealingcenter.com. Take advantage of this opportunity to ask questions for yourself and for your loved ones because our health matters. Join him next Friday at 2 p.m. for Safe, Effective Natural Solutions here on 98.3 FM, The Word.